Hey, it's Chris, and I want to thank you for stopping by my website and checking out this video. Today's video, we're going to be talking about open house versus no open house. And it's going to help both listers and people that are out buying houses kind of understand what this debate is about and understand the value of what an open house does. So I do open houses 40 weeks out of the year. I find them to be invaluable. They're so important. They really keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on in the marketplace. So, for example, when people come in to an open house, I start to understand how they got there. Usually there's an introduction. I've got a registration card that asks them how they learned about the open house, but it normally comes up in my conversation as well. And what I'm trying to understand is if the marketing efforts that we've done to date on the house are working. So I'll ask them, how did you find us in the open house? And their responses might be, I found you on the internet. Chris, I saw you on your website. Hey, a neighbor told me. I saw it from a road sign. Whatever avenue that they got to the open house is, we want to understand how successful that marketing efforts are in those areas. And each one of those is a spoke on a larger marketing wheel, and we need to understand how that's performing. So right off the bat, it lets me know what marketing efforts are working and which aren't doing so well. Now the traffic also tells me a little bit more about a house too. If it's a great property and reasonably priced, we need to take a look at those traffic levels and say, gee, is the traffic level not that strong? What does that mean? Maybe the pictures online aren't as nice as they should be, or maybe ordered correctly, or maybe the description needs to be changed. It helps get us dialed in on other marketing things that we can fix or tune in to make sure that the traffic level improves. Of course, there's always going to be competing things going on, whether it's the Super Bowl, whether it's kids dance recital or whatever, and there'll always be traffic issues that go on. But usually we have an understanding as to what that level of traffic should be. And normally when we talk to other agents that are doing open houses on the same day, we'll get an understanding as to whether a good agent, anyway, like me, will be able to understand how we rank against some of those other open houses with similar inventory. Now, it's going to give me valuable information about buyers' wants and needs. And that helps me with sellers. Because when a buyer comes in, they're going to tell me how they feel about the kitchen. They're going to tell me how they feel about the bathrooms and the master suite. They're going to talk about different things throughout the house. And if they're not talking, you know I'm going to ask them. I'm going to ask them for that information. And I'm going to ask them how we compare it to other houses that they might have seen that day earlier prior to getting to this open house. So it gives me a lot of feedback so that I can understand how well we're presenting the property and also what buyers' wants and needs are. So that's going to be able to help me tell sellers in the future how it is that they need to stage or color or make improvements to their home. But for buyers, it helps me get dialed in on what it is that they want so I can select and find homes for them a lot easier. I get a lot of questions about, why do I have to sign a registration form coming in the door? And, you know, I can understand the introductions and then all of a sudden, hey, we need you to sign this registration form before you go through the house. But it's important. It's important for a couple different reasons. The first reason is this disclosure. You can kind of see it right here. You won't be able to read it, but you'll be able to see it. There's a date and there's a property address on there, and there's a disclosure. And the disclosure basically says that in the absence of buyer representation, the person holding the open house or hosting the open house by default represents the seller. It's up for me to make sure that you understand that when you come into an open house that I'm holding. That's why I want you to read it and sign the form for me. Now, from another perspective, security, which is probably even more important, people want to know who's coming in and out of their homes during these hours. And you would too if you had your personal belongings in and around the house. So again, another reason to be able to put your information down. Now, we do follow up with people, and that's a value-added item down at the bottom. and we'll go over that because we only want to talk to people that are ready, willing, and able to buy real estate in the near future. And if you write down on the card, not interested, or please don't call me, that's going to let us know, okay, you're really not that interested. But there's a lot of other people out there that are interested. And this form provides us, and the open house provides us, with a way of getting these people the information that they need and helping them understand the process. People only buy homes once in every 8 years or so, maybe even up to 12. What does that mean? A lot of people don't know how to start their search, and they usually nowadays start online. Over 95% of the buyers are checking houses out online before they even go to the house. A lot of the people that are coming into open houses are telling me that they saw us online. Well, they're also coming in unrepresented. Just about 60%, 58 to 60% are coming in unrepresented. So they're starting their buying process off, and through my experience, what I've found is lightning strikes, they find the house that they like at the open house, and they're not ready. They haven't been qualified by a lender. They don't have buyer representation established. They really haven't put into play a lot of things that you need to do before you start to go out and look at homes. They don't even know if they're qualified to buy that home. What's even scarier is if that's the right home for them, and if it's at the right price and it's in great condition. Here's the thing. A customer was probably there yesterday on Saturday with an agent, and they've already have buyer representation established, and they already have the pre-qualification done. And if they weren't there on Saturday, they were there on Friday. And if they weren't there on Friday, they were there on Thursday. What I'm trying to tell people is that people that come in without representation are usually 3 or 4 days behind. Okay? This part of the form helps us identify those people and be able to give them whatever information that they might need to help further them along in their home buying process. So that's another value-added item. So on the disclosure, on the sheet here, we've got the disclosure, security, and then value-added. And that's why we need you to sign the form. Now here on the website, we've got a couple of other items for you. By zip code, I have the previous month's sales data. So you can take a look and check out inventory levels, check out the number of listings. If there's anybody that likes to do data analysis, have at it. If you don't see your zip code, please give me a call and I'll be able to send one out to you. If you need help interpreting the data, please give me a call. I happen to be a numbers guy. I'm very data driven. The other thing that I've got on this site is a property preview sheet. Now this sheet allows you to write down your preferences, what your must-haves are and what your nice-to-haves are, and then it allows you to go to the various different houses and compare them, almost like a stack rank. You know, I don't know about you, and I see a lot of houses, but after I've been in 4 or 5 houses, my eyes kind of glaze over sometimes. This form really helps keep us on track and make sure that each house, even though it might be beautiful, meets the needs and wants that you have. So, and doesn't let us stray from what your core wants and needs are. So I've got that form here for you as well. If you need any additional buyer or seller resources, or if you'd like a complimentary home valuation done, by all means, please call out to me. I can be reached at 571-228-4159. And again, it's Chris Downey with Keller Williams Realty. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you at the next open house.